What's up, YouTube? This is Thomas from Thomas Invest and thank you for watching. Today I want to talk about ETFs. I'll give you a short version of how ETF works, why it's interesting to buy ETFs, different ETF strategies and what mistakes you need to avoid. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to get notified when I'm posting a new video. I also appreciate an early thumbs up, which helps me within the YouTube algorithm. For now, let's dive into it. An exchange-traded fund, or simply ETF, is a type of security that tracks an index, sector, commodity or other asset, but which can purchased or sold on a stock exchange the same way a regular stock can. An ETF can be structured to track anything from the price of an individual commodity to a large and diverse collection of securities. ETFs can contain many types of investments including stocks, commodities, bonds or a mixture of investment types. An exchange-traded fund is a marketable security, meaning it has an associated price that allows it to be easily bought and sold. An ETF is a type of fund that holds multiple underlying assets rather than only one like a stock does. Because there are multiple assets within the ETF, they can be a popular choice for diversification. Many people have the S&P 500 ETF, which tracks the S&P 500, or the World ETF, which tracks companies around the world. This is one way to get diversification in your portfolio. Another reason can be to track an industry or a sector. So when you think that solar companies are the future, but you don't really know which company is the best to pick, or you don't have all the detailed information about the sector, you can simply buy an ETF, which focuses on solar companies. This is one of the bigger benefits you will get from buying ETFs. They make it easy to buy a whole index, sector or industry. There are various types of ETFs available in the market. Bond ETFs are used to provide regular income to investors. Their income distribution depends on the performance of the underlying bonds. They might include government bonds, corporate bonds and state and local bonds, called municipal bonds. Unlike their underlying instruments, bond ETFs do not have a maturity date. Stock ETFs comprise a basket of stocks to track a single industry or sector. For example, a stock ETF might track the automotive or foreign stocks. The aim is to provide a diversified exposure to a single industry, one that includes high performance and new entrants with potential for growth. Industry or sector ETFs are funds that focus on a specific sector or industry. For example, an energy sector ETF will include companies operating in that sector. The idea behind this industry ETF is to gain exposure to the upside of that industry by tracking the performance of companies operating in that sector. As their name indicates, commodity ETFs invest in commodities, including crude oil or gold, etc. Commodity ETFs are great for diversification. Currency ETFs tracks the performance of currency pairs consisting of domestic and foreign currencies. Currency ETFs can be used to speculate on the prices of currencies based on political and economic developments for a country. Inverse ETFs attempt to earn gains from the stock declines by shorting stocks. Shorting is selling a stock expecting a decline in value and repurchasing in at lower prices. Essentially, they are bets that the market will decline. When the market declines, an inverse ETF increases by a proportional amount. Right now, I own three types of ETFs. The S&P 500 ETF, the Global World ETF and the Robotic and Automation ETF. It's said that over a longer period of time the S&P 500 ETF has an annual average return of 10 to 12%. So this is my benchmark. By hand-picking stocks, I assume that I will do better than this 10 or 12% a year on average basis with these hand-picked stocks. Otherwise, I could simply buy the S&P 500 ETF. I use this S&P 500 ETF to get an average return of 10 to 12% every year. I also use this ETF for diversification. It's the same story with the Global World ETF. This ETF tracks the largest company around the world and is used in my portfolio to not only bet on the USA but also to benefit from other markets. The third ETF that I have is the Robotics ETF. I truly believe in this industry over the long term and I think robotics will be huge in the future. This ETF tracks the most important companies around the world which focus on robotics and automation. At this moment I have little detailed information about this sector, but it's a gut feeling that this will be used. I've done some smaller research and decided to invest in these companies. While owning this ETF, I'm doing more detailed research right now about which companies are the best and which I want to invest in. I have several ETFs on my watch list which I maybe want to buy in the future, but first need to do some more research. Examples are several Asia ETFs, the AEX ETF, which represents the market of my homeland, the Netherlands, and some industry ETFs. For now, I'm buying the ETFs that I already own, and maybe in the future I will use ETFs to get more diversification in my portfolio. There are several mistakes you easily can make with buying ETFs, so I made a list where you can check the most made mistakes and how to avoid them. First, not researching how an ETF diversifies your portfolio. Picking an ETF with low volume, relying on the ETF's name to tell you what you are investing in. ETFs are always the safe investments. And the last one, buy something you don't understand. I think ETFs are great to diversify your portfolio or to invest in a whole sector or industry with only limited research. But there's more to simply buying index, sector or industry. You need to understand what you are buying and, most important, why. So remember to always do your own research and never fully trust on what I or other YouTubers say about stock. I'm not a financial advisor and this content is just for entertaining purposes only. I hope you liked this video and I did bring some insights of the company to you. I would really appreciate a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to get notified when I'm posting a new video. Thanks for watching and I will see you in my next video.